Hello, hello. Are you all doing well? I've been a lot happier these days with the sun shining more often and the warmer temperatures ready to welcome spring. My theme for March is inspired by scenes from the BTS Spring Day music video, and I'll be finishing my weekly spreads in this video. I'm really excited to share these weeklies with you because if you've been keeping up with me, you'll know just how much I love BTS. Each one is inspired by a different scene, so let's jump right in. In my last video, you saw the first weekly of March was based on the Omelas Motel scene in the music video, so for this weekly spread, I wanted to start off with a spread inspired by the train. I started out with writing March at the top of the page, and this spread will cover the week of March 8th to 14th. Next, I'm starting on the main focus of this page, which is the train doodle. In the music video, we see all of the members sitting on the train as well as some of the members running through it. The lyrics even make a reference to the movie Snowpiercer. In that movie, you see a train that has many different carriages, and it follows the journey of the main character moving from the back of the train to the front. Similarly, in the music video, we see Jungkook and Namjoon walking through the train. I think that references like this are what make BTS music videos incredibly interesting. Snowpiercer and Spring Day both give messages that nothing will last forever, so it gives a message of hope that no hardships or grief or sadness will last forever. I decided to make the train gray, and then I used green on the curtains and blue to fill in the windows. The colors actually remind me of the song Blue and Gray, which is probably my favorite song that they released on their most recent album. Besides that, I doodled some snowflakes next to the train as I wanted to stick with the winter vibe before I make the transition to spring in my journal. In the bottom left corner of the page, I also drew a small suitcase to resemble the suitcases left behind throughout the train. For the sections of the days of the week, I just drew simple squares, but I'm also drawing a rectangle in the bottom right for a note section and then one in the top right for a mini calendar. I didn't know if I was going to like this layout because it wasn't symmetrical at all, but I actually really like how this one turned out when I finished. I highlighted and filled in the days of the week for each box as well as for the calendar and note section. I usually like to see my monthly and mini calendars start on Sunday, but when it comes to weekly spreads, I prefer them to start on Mondays because Monday always feels like the beginning of a new week of things to do, and then I end each week with the weekend. I don't know if I described that right, but that's the reason that my weekly spreads always start with Mondays, and my monthly spreads and the mini calendar on this page starts on Sunday. I filled the empty space with some more of the translated song lyrics. I definitely wrote out a lot of lyrics in this theme because all of the lyrics are beautiful. These lyrics read, "If I were a fluttering snowflake, I would be able to reach you a little faster." Now I had a couple of technical difficulties when recording this time, so this is one of the clips that didn't seem to record, but I added a little washi tape and some snowflake stickers to the page before I added a drop shadow to the mini calendar. The next weekly spread is based off of the carousel that Jungkook stands in front of during some of the music video scenes. I wanted the sections for the days of the week to be in the center, so I left the sides for all of the decorations. I started out by writing the month down the left side of the page and the translated song lyrics that say, "It seems like cherry blossoms are blooming. The winter is also coming to its end." These lyrics inspired me to make a spread of the transition from winter to spring. Plus, the first day of spring will be on the 20th, which is the Saturday of this weekly. After making sections for the days of the week, I started to draw the outline of the Polaroid where I will be drawing the carousel scene. I looked at a reference photo and then I drew the basic outline of the base of the carousel. I also decided to draw a few swings hanging from the carousel, and it was pretty simple because they were all just straight lines. Then I finished the Polaroid sketch with writing HYYH on it, which stands for Hwa Young Yoon Hwa, which is commonly referred to as one of BTS's eras where they did the Most Beautiful Moment in Life trilogy. Spring Day was the conclusion to this series, so it made the Polaroid feel more complete. I did get a little bit of the clip here, but for the snowflakes becoming cherry blossoms as you move from the bottom left of the journal to the top right, I started with drawing some snowflakes, which were just 3 to 4 intersecting lines, and then for some of the more complex snowflakes, I drew a few lines branching off of each of them. As I moved to the top right of the page, I moved into cherry blossom petals and even drew a full flower in the corner. For the cherry blossom petals, I took the brush side of the Tombow and made the petals kind of random blobs of color. If I had to describe what they looked like though, it'd kind of be a cross between a triangle and a heart shape. I also added a couple of yellow ribbons to the sides of the sections for the days of the week because we see these ribbons on the carousel in the music video. From what I know, the yellow ribbons were meant to remind us to mourn for those we've lost, but also to live for them and to not forget them. I highlighted the top of each box and wrote out the days of the week. Then you'll see that I drew out the outline of the cherry blossom in the top right corner, which is exactly how I drew the cherry blossoms in my journal last year. Then I colored the carousel a blue-green color before coloring the background blue and the ground a light tan. On the top of the carousel, I wrote "You never walk alone," just like it's seen in the music video. There were enough doodles in the background from the snowflakes and the cherry blossoms, so I decided to stop there for this spread. I don't know if you would call this minimalist because of the background, but I like how simple it is. For the last weekly spread, I decided to do the scene where they are celebrating what looks to be Namjoon's birthday. It worked out well because this weekly is actually my birthday week. The spread looks really simple right now, but I'm excited to share this one. I think it might actually be my favorite weekly of the month. I started by writing out March at the top along with making my mini calendar in the corner. Next, I drew a doodle of the birthday cake and a crown because this is the birthday scene and we do see Namjoon wearing a crown in the music video throughout the scene. I did the same sections for the days of the week like I did in the last spread by highlighting every other box blue and yellow, and then I colored in the doodles. I tried to make the cake have some strawberries on it, but I'm not sure that they came out looking like that. I also kept them in the same color scheme that the other doodles from the previous pages were. And now I'm going to set aside the journal to draw the main focus of the spread, which is the outline of the BTS members on the couch. I mentioned in the last video that I got a lot of inspiration from the Instagram account by Claire, and this drawing is definitely inspired by one of her weeklies where she sketched the scene where the members are all sitting on the couch in the Life Goes On music video. Also, I've heard a lot of people say that Life Goes On is the child song of Spring Day, and I couldn't agree more. I love that these two title tracks are both more like ballads. I already had the outline for the drawing done, so I'm just tracing those lines. But in order to get the outline, I actually started by taking a screenshot of the couch scene from the music video, and then tracing around the members to get a rough outline. After that was done, I went in and did more touch-ups of the drawing. Once the sketch was done, I colored all of the members' outfits. I was originally planning on keeping to the pastel color scheme I had going on for the other pages, but I wanted to be as true to the color in the music video and added some of those darker colors into the drawing like the red, pink, and dark blue. When I finished coloring, I cut out the drawing and then I did some layering with the doodle, washi tape, scrap paper, and a sticker. I was surprised that the drawing turned out pretty well and I was really happy with it. I don't normally do layering in my journal with this collage style, but I think after seeing how much I like this, I might do it more in the future. I love that I got to do another theme based on BTS, and I always find that the song hits even deeper when I read over the lyrics. I feel like the words chosen are very intentional, and I think that's what makes Spring Day so meaningful to me. Spring Day will definitely be one of my all-time favorite songs by them. As always, be sure to let me know in the comments which weekly was your favorite and which ones matched the music video well. I love seeing your comments. They really make my day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!